Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Fringe North podcast. My name is Caitlin Townsend. My pronouns are she and her, and I'm the project coordinator for this year's Fringe Festival. And I have with me here today Kyla and Divan. Would you like to introduce yourselves and share a little bit about your submission for the festival this year, please?
Sure. Divan, do you want to start?
Kyla, you go ahead.
Okay. So our project is called Face Your Fears. It's pretty much a way of using art as a coping mechanism and utilizing our mental health and invisible disabilities to get through those tough times and facing our fears by being vulnerable with our artwork.
And just to add to that, my name is Divan Meyer, and that is the person who just spoke is Kyla Yager, and we're both the co-creators of Face Your Fears.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate having you here and being able to learn about your submission. So, what inspired creating this project and how did it get started?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you for having us. Um, Before we get started, I also just want to give a little shout out to Start the Right Theater Company, as they were really a wonderful company that kind of gave us the space to kind of get this started. Really, the original thing was that we were supposed to kind of create a little thing for their virtual arts crawl. And really, when Kyla and I met up, we were thinking in our heads, okay, well, are we now teamed up together? So from the get-go, from the beginning, we decided that we're going to end up doing something together. And that was really just by happenstance. And then there was an exercise that we did where we kind of did like a chain reaction art off of each other. And really we got to discussing and talking about mental health and things that are really important to us, including invisible disabilities and our personal experiences with it. And that kind of where this happens. So yeah, it's just been truly amazing. And I'm really grateful to have met Kyla. She's truly a wonderful artist to have been worked with. And she's such a giving artist, and it just really made this project really special.
It's awesome.
To bounce off of that, me and Divan did not know each other before starting to work on this project.
Oh.
Like, we had no idea who each other were. We were teamed up to sort of help inspire each other and everything. And we actually misunderstood the project. We thought that we were supposed to be working together, but it was supposed to be individual projects. But we were just like, we're so glad we both misunderstood it, because we ended up being a great team and making something really magical.
That's fantastic. It's like the best like happy accident ever. Yeah. Yeah. So how did you with having not known each other and to come together for a collaboration, sometimes there can be a little bit of a like learning how your skills work together and like that process of learning where you best fit as a team. And how did that process kind of unfold as you explored those different areas?
Kyla, do you want to do you want to start with that question?
Well, me personally, I have loved and have been doing collaborations with different kinds of artists for a few years now, mostly collaborating with musicians, painting to their music live. And I've also collaborated with other visual artists, but I had never collaborated with an actor or performer before. So I was really excited to sort of experiment. And I mean, I think a lot of it was sort of an experimentation to see like, will this work? Yeah, sure. And we were very open and flexible to like each other's ideas, which made it a really great working environment. Um, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just curious as to how you mixed your strengths together as artists, because sometimes, like with one project, when you're working with a different individual, like different skills are highlighted within each of you, and every team is kind of unique. So I'm just wondering how that played out.
I think we definitely like inspired each other like nonstop. Like every time I finished like a little mini project, I would send it to him, and he's like, "Oh my god, now I'm gonna do this thing," and then he sent me something. I'm like, "Oh my god, now I'm gonna do this thing," and then it just turned into like a very positive snowball effect.
Yeah, just to kind of add on that, for me, usually my experience is more scripted theater and full-length shows. So I think this was both kind of a little bit of an experiment on both of our parts, kind of just throwing ourselves in there and being open. And I think we both from the beginning also got to see that we both are pretty open to new ideas and new experiences. And we were like hungry to see what's going to happen. And we were just kind of open and keeping it like as open as possible. And we didn't really want to kind of set with we didn't want to have a like a set idea of everything just yet. So I think in the process of the creation part of this piece, going back to the how it was created on the exercise of just kind of going back and forth and creating something with each other and having a chain reaction on that, the piece really became out of that, because that's really what we did, is we just kept on discussing our personal experiences and a lot of the stuff that's going around, and especially with the pandemic, with people having, you know, so many people having mental health difficulties during this time. We knew from the beginning we really wanted to, because this project was created in a way for it to be open and experimental, we also wanted that for the audience to witness that, for it to be kind of an open-ended piece, so that everyone can relate to it and not feel so lonely, especially in this time where, you know, isolation was a really big part of our lives, and it was a really big part of our days, you know, with being separated and being on our own.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like, just to hear like the heart behind it. And I'm curious from that, like what you would say the core themes of your show are, and what was the heart of the project as a whole.
So I think the name Face Your Fears, it wasn't really hard to come up with, in the sense of we were ready to face our vulnerabilities within our art as individuals. And I think that, again, like a lot of people can relate mental health wise to what's going on in the world. And I was honestly, I went into this piece like wanting that collaboration, wanting to work with someone, wanting to express what my idea was. And then I think Divan sort of filled in the blanks for me personally. So it's just like everything that I needed. Like I'm not good at video editing. I'm a painter. Like that's what I do. And it's just like even like the acting parts and just like having our conversations about mental health within it. I think we formed a true friendship and a great working relationship. And I just am excited to collaborate again and maybe involve more people and more types of art. I mean, even a musician that I used to collaborate with, like live painting, we ended up using his music within the piece, and it sort of like came full circle in the end. So it was just really cool.
It's awesome. Um, so sorry, did you have anything to add, Divan?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in there, the musician is Sam Kohler, and he's just fantastic. I love his music. He also writes his own music. He's really stunning. And to that, to add to Kyla, you are amazing, and it's truly wonderful to be working with you on this. It's truly just been a magical experience, and it's really definitely pushed my experience with theater and what theater can be, especially when it's so digital now with the pandemic. And it's really exciting because a lot of interesting and amazing things are happening just through people going, we need to create. What can we do?
Mhm.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and to build off of that, like I think it's really unique in this time to rather than create film, figure out how to translate that theater piece to a digital format, right? Because I think those are two very different things, and it's been really unique to see what people are coming up with. So I'm curious as to how you were able to approach that in a way that kept like I guess the heart of theater and the essence of what it is into your submission, and how that came to be and how that shaped as the project went on.
If I just want to throw something in there, Kyla, my bad. I'm gonna
Oh,
let you. I read I'm reading a fantastic book right now, and I can't remember entirely. It's called the Moment Work by the Tectonic Theater, um, and they're talking about how, you know, with theater, I feel like a lot of people are, you know, sometimes scared to go out there and be big and be theatrical. And, you know, especially in a world of it becoming more technical and digital, we have to ask ourselves, you know, how can we keep that level of theatricality inside of a theater on camera? So I don't think we maybe had specific discussions on that, but I think from the beginning, at least on my part, Kyla can add to that. I knew I wanted to kind of find a way, and I kind of edited it that way. Some of the art pieces are moving within the frame, and you don't necessarily see. And it was sort of edited in a way that it kind of looks like you were within the art piece, and I kind of wanted to put it in that way just because I wanted to capture the theatricality of what theater is about, and the fact that the audience is also very much a part of the show, right? And I wanted to make sure that that isn't lost within the camera, because with film, it's a little different, you know. It's very much sort of like an aftermath of the project where you film it, you don't get an immediate reaction, and then later people watch it and then you get the reaction, where theater, it's instant. So I really wanted to kind of catch that. And I especially think in the world where theater is becoming more digital, it was really exciting, and it's still very exciting to continue that idea of how can we keep the technical aspect of theater when it's becoming more digital, but how can we capture that magic of, you know, the lights going down, the curtain going up, and the audience is all ready to look ahead and see what's going on.
That's awesome.
And from the other end of the spectrum, in the sense of like the visual art perspective, like I'm used to showing my art in person, talking about my art in person, talking about why I make it, talking about mental health, my ADHD, all that stuff. And that's been taken away because of COVID. I've only been able to sell my art online. They only get to see like the short artist statement that I have about my art. And if people want to know more, I mean, I guess they can send me an email, but that doesn't happen very often. So it was a great way for me. Well, and I also got into TikTok, and because of COVID, now you have to like film all of your process. Otherwise, nobody cares. It's just like, I sort of like had to get into that. And it is kind of annoying. Like you want to just go in and paint intuitively, like just in the moment. But then you're like, oh no, I got to get my camera set up and get the lighting good and this and that. And it's so annoying. But I think that by working with Divan and specific purposefully making pieces for this performance, and doing lots of different layers and making the process more of the center point than the finished product, it really changed the way that I look at making art, and the way that other people can view my art, knowing that it's not just me starting from one corner and ending in the other. It's many, many layers, just like people have many layers to like what's going on in their head and what they're feeling and what's going on. So not having like the physical space to show my art and be able to do the actual professional artist thing that I was doing really well at, and then COVID hit and then it was all taken away. It's sort of like, okay, well, how can I change the way that I'm, focusing my art career so that it can adjust to the way society's changing? And Divan, you're like a really big help with that. So it wasn't just TikTok. It was TikTok was fun, but I like this more.
Thank you. I just want to, something I want to add in there. Just a thought. I encourage anyone that's listening to this, if they have an idea or a need to create something, do it. You know, I don't want to speak just for Kyla here, but I don't think either of us really expected this to be ending up here. And I think that's what's so exciting about it, is just, you know, if you have an idea and a thought or something, create with whatever you have. You know, art shouldn't, I think definitely in this world, yes, there's technological standards of, you know, having a high resolution and that kind of stuff, but you know, it's so something so beautiful of just opening up a camera, start recording, and just putting your heart out there and seeing what happens with it. And I think that in this time, especially with the pandemic, and in the theater industry as well, it's, and in the arts industry, it's becoming more and more exciting as well, seeing people just creating out of the need to, you know. And I think this has really been a wonderful experience. And I think me and Kyla both talked a lot about this, but it's been great just to get back at creating again, since it's been a while for both of us, being around people and being around other artists, and just being able to go, okay, let's do it. What can we do? Let's make something.
That's awesome, that like freeing process of coming back together with others, and even in a digital space. So what are you hoping that festival goers gain from engaging with your content this year, and what do you hope that they take away from it with them?
I hope that people feel safe to talk about what's going on in their head with others.
Mm.
And even if they don't feel like they're in a space to do so, that they can express themselves creatively and cope in that way. Because not everyone is good at talking about what's going on.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think it's like an ongoing theme, like always. But when you're painting it out, performing it out, drawing it out, playing music, whatever kind of art form is your go-to, um, you don't even necessarily have to explain anything. And that's the unique part about art, is that like it's just self-expression. That's just what it is. You express yourself, and it can be abstract, it can be realistic, it can be direct, it can be indirect. It doesn't really matter as long as the act of doing it helps you in some way, shape, or form. And especially collaborating with other artists, I think that's where I feel like we're encouraging other artists to collaborate with each other as well, and just sort of be like, okay, like how can I expand my range art wise and use that to help myself and the people around me. um, so I mean, that's what I got. I think that's my hope, that other people get from it as well. So
And something I would like to add there is, and I think Kyla would feel the same here, is it's been an extremely therapeutic process for us to just be putting something out there, and putting, as Kyla said before, as when you have trouble putting words to things, to kind of just get it out there somehow. And I hope that also will be as therapeutic for the audience to watch it as it was for us to create it. Just for that somebody knows out there, hey, I'm not alone. Because I think that, especially in this time, it's an interesting time, because although we are very severely, we were are and sort of is isolated with the pandemic, I think a lot of people started taking a pause and trying to find connection, and trying to find a community, and trying to get out there and get connected. And I hope that this also will be a space for the audience to watch it and go, how can I reach out to somebody? How can we come up and do something? And also just maybe be that little space where that discussion continues, talking about, mental health and invisible disabilities, or just getting that space where people can just breathe and feel like, hey, I'm not alone in this. Other people have experienced this as well, which is that my hope, and the audience watching this.
Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I think, yeah, we there's kind of two sides to that, right? Like mental health isn't spoken about in a whole lot in our society, but then also we live in this society that focuses so much on dialogue. And like you were saying, Kyla, like there's so many other ways to express yourselves and to have a voice. Like we think of voice being language, but there's so many other different ways that we can interact and to engage with our environment and to share, and like that artistic expression, as well as just like the energy that goes into that. And the energy itself is such a way of, like, it's its own language, I guess is what I'm trying to say, which I think is a really beautiful thing. So just full disclosure for you, I work as a life coach as well as this job. And I've just seen like the amount of, yeah, like just how our society can really get focused on language and not allow for other forms of interaction and having voices in different unique ways. And it's just really great to see art being brought into that. And it's just I think a really wonderful thing. And I'm hoping that everyone enjoys it. And I'm looking really forward to your particular submission. So it's exciting to have a part of the festival this year.
Thank you.
So as artists, what are you hoping to gain from being part of the festival for yourselves as well?
My CV is just art shows. I want to expand that. Like I also just it's cool. It's cool experience. I never thought I'd be in Fringe. I did theater in like middle school, but also just hopefully making connections with new people, new artists, and hopefully that our art can like touch someone and make them feel like it helped them in some way, shape, or form.
I think personally for me, a big part of my theater experience has been, as I mentioned before, a lot of more scripted content. So I think this in particular opened up my point of view, to add to what theater can be. And it's not just, there are marvelous scripted content, musicals and plays, but there's other stuff that we can do as well. And I think going through this experience has definitely opened my eyes and also caught my curiosity, my childlike curiosity to see where can we go with this, what if I have another idea? How can I present that in another form of immersive theater creation, maybe through exploring the use of sound or, color or something else that hasn't been explored yet. And I think that is the most exciting for me as well, as realizing, hey, I also have the ability to create something and put it out there and see what happens. So that's definitely has been a bit of a aha moment. And the light bulb went off, and I'm excited to see where that will lead me.
That's fantastic. So for our viewers watching, our festival runs from the 19th to the 22nd of August with a little sneak preview on the Wednesday night. So come on out and support Divan and Kyla and buy tickets. And yeah, we really look forward to having you there. Before we sign off, is there anything else that either of you would like our audience to know about your submission or about you as artists?
I think the only other thing I would like to add is, first of all, thank you again for having us. Another thing I would like to add is just, I'm excited to see where this leads us. I think I listened to a podcast the other day, and I can't remember where I was listening it, but they were talking about, what if this pandemic ends now? What's going to happen with the theater world, especially, or the industry? Will the whole digital era, in terms of creating stuff that's, digital, and actors and artists being in different various little locations, will that end? And I think, and they talked about how, maybe that's maybe a part of the future, and I'm really excited to just see where that leads us, of kind of putting that together with being able to be together. I think that makes it more interesting too, and it also creates a bigger space for more and more artists from around the world to create and work together and do stuff and make. I had the fortunate opportunity to do a few little theater things digitally, and I got to meet people spread across Canada, which is just, amazing and just so wonderful in that way. You get to work with people that are maybe in a different location. So I'm excited to see where that leads us, and I'm so excited for us to be a part of that important discussion as well, in terms of mental health and invisible disabilities, where we get to create out of that, and hopefully people will feel less isolated, and they'll feel a little bit more of a part of the community.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we take like the benefits of the good learning that we've had in COVID and not leave them behind too.
Although I am
Exactly.
really excited to work with people in person again. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, it's understandable. Uh, Kyla, did you have anything that you wanted to share with the audience before we sign off?
Just that I'm really excited for people to see it and to see what kind of response we get. And instead, like we had it show for the Start the Riot Theater Arts Crawl, shout out. But I just like new people, new viewers. All I want is for my art to be shared with the world and to make an effect or influence on people and encourage them to, think about things a little bit differently. And one thing I never mentioned in this podcast was that all the little faces that you will see in this Face Your Fears, it's sort of like inspired by loneliness in the pandemic and making your own imaginary friends. And we did that a little bit too. And that's just like a fun little thing I wanted to add. So it's like, even if you're feeling like, you're a bit secluded, you can always draw a friend.
That's
But
awesome.
also know that art is always going to be there to help you, even if you're not necessarily it's not something that you're necessarily good at. Everyone's good at art if they make it. It's just about your mindset and how you're feeling about yourself. So everybody, please pick up a paintbrush, a microphone, a guitar, whatever. It doesn't have to sound good. It just, as long as it makes you feel good.
That's awesome. Before we go, I have to ask, are the paintings in the background some of your work as well?
Um, Not in our piece specifically, but yes, this is some of my art.
Actually,
Awesome.
some of them will be in the piece, Kyla. That
Oh,
one, yeah, the second one right behind you, to the other side, yeah, that one, I believe that one will be in there, and I
oh,
believe that
good,
one
good. That's
on
a nice
that side
help.
will be in there too.
Awesome.
Yeah, and something I just want to throw in there, I just hope that um, this will inspire people just to make. And if anybody has that need to just want to create something, do it. Stop
Mhm.
listening to other voices or to your own criticism and just make. Really, we didn't think this will end up this far, and that's the beauty of it. That's life, you know. Just take a risk and take a dive in and see where it takes you. You know, it might end up just being in a beautiful space where you get to work with more amazing artists. And I've truly been grateful to be working with Kyla on this. This has truly been just a phenomenal experience.
That's awesome. And I think that's such a beautiful note to end on. So to our audience, I would suggest go out and try something today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Do it now. Attend the festival August 19th to 22nd. And thank you so much for coming on today for both you, Divan and Kyla. And thank you for our audience for watching. Miigwech, merci, and gracias for your time. And have a great day. We'll see you all again soon. Bye.